I like Lucy's painting.
I do too. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the Toolshed. Hey, this is a place you can stop by for about 15 minutes a day. You can hit the reset button. You can maybe have a laugh or two with Eddie and I, and you can learn how to make every job just a little bit easier. This beautiful Toolshed is brought to you by Schedule Engine. Today's episode is all about KPIs, scorecards, knowing what your numbers are, falling in love with your numbers. And this episode is brought to you by our good friends over at Emerson. Eddie,
Are you going to tell them your number today?
hey, my number, I just found this out. Hey, thanks to Ancestry DNA, I am 32% Scottish.
This close to being relevant.
This is my number, 32% Scottish. We're brothers. Somehow. Cousins.
I don't think you understand how brothers work, but that's okay. I made a note here to maybe have a laugh. Like, maybe we're funny. We'll work on that. All right, well, welcome this morning. We're so glad you're here. As Jerry says, it's great to be in the tool shed. And you know, today's an interesting one because as you were saying that, I thought I heard the sound of 10,000 eyeballs collectively rolling back in their head as they groan because you mentioned the dreaded numbers. But at the tool shed, we mentioned that we're going to have honest conversations. And here's the thing. You can care about them, not care about them, but the numbers are going to be there. And it's one of the huge differences between playing at an amateur level and a champion level. And we're going to give you the information, and you can't say you didn't know, and it's up to you. But I put my big rocks here. My big rocks are family, and my family needs a little bit of money every now and again. And so, like, it's all connected. And so we couldn't stand here and do what we do and not have this conversation with you. We told you we're gonna always keep it real. So today, I'm actually really excited because I remember the point in my career when this all clicked, and it made a huge difference. I was a service tech. I have a picture to prove it. No one believes me. But when I was a service tech, we had those journals where you wrote every call down, what you did and what you collected. It was one of those old schools. It's funny when I talk to techs and I try and tell them about things before like iPads and stuff. But that's how we did it, and we copied it and we turned those in every day. And 8 years after I was a tech, I finally threw those out because I had all my numbers at every call I'd ran for 4 years. Like, I love my numbers.
Yeah.
And I can tell you it made a difference. So I'm excited.
Hey, did you use a pencil or like a fat crayon?
No, it was cool. Stone and chisel.
Yeah.
It's that old. Insert old joke here. Thank you. We'll be here all week. All right.
Hey, but when we talk about numbers tomorrow, we're going to talk about revenue streams and how to get paid, and all that ties into your numbers.
Like your own revenue, like your own
revenue,
financial.
Like how do you make more money? Hey, today I want to give a shout out to my friend Mike Geddings at Panther Heating and Air in Rock Hill, South Carolina. I can't hardly say that.
It's emotional for all of us.
It is. Hey, Mike. How you doing today? Thanks for joining us at the Tool Shed. Eddie, let's talk numbers.
Well, hold on. I want to do a question of the day because I'm interested. Yeah. It's Wednesday. I think after the show, I'll drop something in the Facebook group. If you're not there, go ahead and join the group and bring your friends. Because I want to know, what do you track? Like, it might be number of people helped. You might have a personal goal. It may be like, you know, you may track the number of hours you work. And we'll talk a little bit about that. But I'm interested in what you track. And so I'll look for that question afterwards, and let's all compare notes, right? Because that's what friends do. Yeah, but anyway, what was your question?
Hey, we're going to talk about like not everybody knows what like a KPI is.
Right,
like,
yeah.
What are KPIs?
A KPI is it's a key performance indicator, and it's just one of those businessy terms people throw around. But all it is like what numbers are key to running the business. Because whether you like business or not, you just want to go fix stuff, that's awesome. And we need thousands and thousands of people just like that. But somebody somewhere is watching the numbers, and when they do, instead of watching everything, because there's tons of stuff you could watch, typically what you try and do is boil it down to like 3, 4, 5 things every day that you just sort of look at. Like I know Ish over Next Gen, he looks at his bank accounts, he'll look at his calls for the day prior. There's like 4 or 5 things, and it's like, yep, good. And it's sort of like the definition I like. It's, you know, there's tons of moving parts in an engine, and it's very complex, but you've got a check engine light and a thermometer, right? Like on your dashboard. Your dashboard lights are your KPIs. Like just just simple things that can tell you might want to pop the hood and take a look. So KPIs, high level, it's sort of like the gauges on your dash, just enough to tell you that like you can drive the car or not.
Yeah, so for me, it's like watching a football game, and they always have the score at the bottom.
Oh yeah.
Like you wouldn't want to watch the game and not know what the score is. If you're playing the game, you really want to know what the score is.
Players know the score. It's so funny you saying that, because I'm reminded one of the first times I understood why score is important. So I grew up in a different country, Scotland. We're taking applications apparently. Maybe it's a trade. Like I'll come here, they'll take you. It's like
you can come to South Carolina.
Exchange. But it was summer vacation, and I went to my buddy Paul's house. Now Paul, actually, he's in England with he works at Builder's Yard. Travis Perkins, he and all his team. So I know they're watching this over there. But I went to his house on vacation. You ever play cricket?
No.
So cricket.
I fished with crickets.
Different.
Okay.
So it's sort of like you know how I almost made a joke there. I'm not going to do it. So it's played with a bat and then wickets. And so the deal is, it's played on a round field. Both teams wear white. The umpire, get this, the umpire is kind of like the referee, but he has an extra job. Like when it's hot, those 2 days a year it's hot back home, he gets to wear everybody's sweater. So you'll see
if you
the
get
umpire.
hot, you take your sweater off, you give it
to the umpire, and he walks around like with 14. Anyway, I spent an entire summer watching that game with Paul. Not a clue what was going on. Every once in a while, somebody would hit it, somebody would say, how's that? And Paul would get excited. I got to tell you, that was a pretty dull way. But once you learn the score, we'd go down to, the Philadelphia Eagles game, and you see the scoreboard, and you see the players, and you see people that care. Man, it's much cooler being around a game where people know the score. It's just more exciting.
Well, yeah, and it gets you involved, and like, what are the numbers and KPIs that typically we see for plumbers and electricians and HVAC technicians? Like, what are some numbers that are important?
So it's interesting, across most of the trades, they're kind of similar. Like whether you're a roofer or pool guy. So there's simple things like, how many calls did we run, right? So number of people helped. We're in the people helping business. Now, we're not nonprofits. We just need what we need to know what we're doing. And so calls ran. What did we bill for those calls? So a term you'll hear all the time is average sale, right? An average sale, you helped me with the math earlier. If we run 10 calls and we make $3,000 at the end of the day, that is
$300 average ticket.
Ah, nailed it. Welcome to the Toolshed. So
South Carolina Public Education.
Somewhere there's a math teacher crying. But like that's an average ticket, and it's directionally useful to know. Like as a tech, I wanted to know, wow, that's below my average was X, and that's below that. That means my average is going down. Or that was above that. And again, it's not good or bad. It just is, right? And so that's another one. What's one of the ones you like to keep track of?
We're all about memberships.
Yeah.
And we want to talk about memberships, and we've talked about it a little bit before. We're going to have an entire show just about memberships. But like, how many people did you sign up for a membership?
Yeah.
How many people joined the family?
That's exactly what it is, man.
Yeah.
Like if you like your family, you bring people over, right?
Well, it's guaranteed work, and it's just like a demand call waiting to happen.
Yeah, it's funny. If you care about the hour, say you're just like, I just want to know how many hours ago. Like the smart techs, if they work, instead of worrying about the hours this week, they worry about the hours next year. They bring people into the family this year.
That's a good point.
It's not a company problem. It's a me problem, and so that's where we like to focus. What any other ones you like to watch?
Another big one is our sales leads. And so if you're a repair person and you go out and you say, hey, your air conditioner's had critical failure, I can't really fix it. I mean, I could fix it, but it's going to cost so much, you're not going to want to do that.
Right.
We should probably have a comfort advisor come out to your home. We want to track how many of those sales leads that you turn over to the sales department.
Yeah. Listen, every customer is important and every call is important, but not all calls have the same dollar value. And as a business, it's just one of those things you like to watch. And some people like having those conversations and some people don't. And some people specialize in having those conversations because, that can be an emotional time for customers. And there's a right way to do that. We're going to have a whole episode just on that as well, because there's some people that you and I have worked with that are super smart. And man, there's just ways to have that conversation that are just flat out easier and make you a better tech to have that. We call it playing the tape forward. So that's another one. Any other ones? Any last ones that you'd think of?
I can't wait for that episode.
No,
that's a really
corker,
good one,
man. That's
that's a really good one. Well, we talked about reviews. You know, we did a whole episode on review. You got to review the work that you did with the customer, but the KPI review is really like, did you get any reviews posted?
Yeah.
Did they have your name on the review?
Why are they so important? All of a sudden, it feels like in the last 2 years, everyone's talking about reviews.
Well, it's super important. Here's what they tell me. They tell me that if a customer wakes up today and their air conditioner's not working, the very first thing they're going to do is they're going to pick up the phone and call a friend or a family member. That friend or family member is going to give them a review.
Yep.
They're going to say, you could use ABC Plumbing, and they did a really good job for us. You should call them. Then based on what that friend or family member says, then they're going to go to your website. When they go to your website, they're going to read the reviews because people like to do what other people do.
Absolutely. And you know what's interesting? People are giving reviews whether they leave them or not. And you ever been on one of the social media sites? I remember last year, sitting there, and it was a friend of the family. They had asked a question in a group about heating and air conditioning, and there was like 50 answers, and we were in the mix, some other companies, and so it's really interesting. Like, those conversations are happening, and like our numbers, we can't just ignore them. So I think that's a good one. What's that thing you say about like not tracking your numbers? Like you said it's
Not tracking your numbers is like watching golf on Saturday. If you watch the PGA Tour on Saturday, that nobody wins. Like that's like playing the game without knowing what the score is.
Right.
Right. So,
but Sunday's
important.
People know the score.
They know they know what the score is on Sunday. And listen, like high performers, they know what the score is.
Right.
Listen, like if I called like let's just say like a high performer or a low performer or a low achiever versus a high achiever. If I called a low achiever today and said, "Hey, how's your job going?" They say, "I think I'm doing okay." If I call a high performer or a high achiever and I say, "How's your job going?" They say, "Hey, here's my numbers. Last week, I turned over 4 leads. I did this many repairs. I sold 2 memberships.
I helped
and
this
next,
many people."
Here's what my numbers are for the month. Like they know their numbers because they've fallen in love with the numbers.
Yeah, you know, it's funny, and just to sort of bring it back, like as I've talked over the years with techs, sales professionals, whatever, here's the nut of all of this. Numbers, you don't have a good month or a bad month. The numbers are just the numbers. It's sort of like if you're getting mad at your watch because the minute hand was late and you missed the bus, it's not the watch's fault. It just is what it is. And your numbers are just your numbers. Like, but you better learn to know what they are. And more importantly, you should be having conversations with your team supervisor, your manager, if you're the owner, your accountant, because somebody somewhere is having those conversations. And that's why we're telling you today. You can choose to do what you want, but you better believe that somebody somewhere has a list of important numbers, and hopefully your company has explained exactly how you win. When we onboard people, we want to let them know how long the game's played, how you win points, and give them a scoreboard. Every team member should know at any point in the day, if you stop them, am I having a good day or not? And that should be related to points on the board, because points on the board translate to income for me and my family, which translates to the promises I've made to myself and my family. And that's why we do it. Like, we get to help people, we get to fix stuff, work with our hands, and that's awesome. But it's not a non-profit. And it's okay that there's an exchange for our skill. And you can be really skilled at the motor side, but man, the people that have endless opportunities are the ones that know their numbers.
Yeah.
Matt knows these numbers.
What was that Zig Ziglar quote you told me this morning? This is a good one.
So Zig Ziglar says, everyone is on commission, whether you think you are or not. So even if you have a salary, you're on commission, because the minute that you don't produce more than you're paid, they're going to have a conversation with you. And our job is to make sure no one in the shed is surprised. And so listen, it's not just about the numbers, but you can't kid yourself on that they're not important. In today's day and age, with so many alternatives, another company just a click away, we have to, it's just as important, and you have to know it, because that's what keeps the lights on, right? It's not someone else's problem, it's not a they problem, it's a we problem. And teammates, teammates care about their team score. This isn't an individual sport.
Yeah, I love that. Well said.
I'll get off my soapbox now. Anyway, all right. So what's the ask for the day?
Hey, the ask for today is like, if you don't know your numbers, you better ask somebody. And that's that manager or your supervisor. What's the most important numbers? And if he says, hey, here's the number we're shooting for, here's your number, you might want to say, hey, what's the number that I need to be at?
What's the top performer?
What's the top performer? What's
like
the
if-
top
yeah.
guys do, right?
Like if you know your number, ask where you could be better, because we're all about moving your career forward here at the Shed. And if you don't know, ask. And if you're the owner, if you're a single operator, whatever, talk to your accountant, because he knows the numbers, right? So that's it. All right. So join us tomorrow. We've got the reefer guy coming back to keep us safe. Jerry and I will be in the Facebook groups. We'll be on the channels. Come say hi. Let us know the problems you're having. Thank you to Schedule Engine for the Shed. Thank you to our friends at Emerson for the sponsorship. And Jerry, what do you
Hey,
have?
be good out there so you can do good out there. Go out and be a lion today, people.
Rawr.
Hey, thanks so much for
Cheers.
stopping by.
Cricket.